What's up YouTube? Welcome to the D.G.O. Today I thought I'd bring you my Invisimon deck profile. It's a deck I enjoy playing, just a little fun thing. I never actually use it in competitive play or anything like that. It's just a deck I enjoy playing. I love the way it plays. The design of Invisimon himself is just really cool, and he's probably one of the better designed Liberator cards. I think obviously all of them are really cool, Ryugimon probably being my favourite, but Invisimon, like I say, is just to me a really cool design and such. But before we get into that, I've seen a lot of deck profiles for Invisimon online on YouTube and such, and they're always playing these guys. Don't play these guys, it's just a waste. They do next to nothing for the deck. This guy here, basically when digivolving, so it's not even on play, it's just when digivolving, flip your opponent's top face down card face up. That's it. It does nothing else than that. The deck wants cards flipped up, yes, but everything else, the Invisimons themselves, the new Altia, the new Oblivimon as well flips cards, even the new Espimon flips cards as well. And as for this guy, the only thing he has going for him is that he's a memory setter. If you're playing the emblems, again, you don't need the emblems. Don't play the emblems, you don't need them. Maybe, yeah, but again, you don't need the emblems, because all he does is he puts stuff from your trash under your one of your guys, so you can keep triggering your Invisimons and such. But with what we're playing, we don't need that. He does flip cards face up in security as well, but again, we have plenty of ways of doing that, so these two just aren't needed anymore. So with that said, let's get into the deck profile. For the level 2s, we are running 4 of the new EX11 Kupurimon. When cards in your opponent's security turn face up and the number increases, draw 1. Draw power is really nice. You need to see your Invisimons and such for plays you can do later on, so the extra draw power is really nice. Unfortunately, it is only your turn. If it was all turns, it would be ridiculous, because the new Oblivimon plays out at the end of your opponent's turn and still flips cards face up in your opponent's security. So it would be nice if it was all turns, but we're not a mainline Liberator deck, so we're not going to. On to level 3s, we have 4 of the BT20 Espimon. He's your reduction or digivolution reducer. If he digivolves to a cyborg or machine trait, reduce the cost by 1. It's just nice to have, and his inheritable is all turns gain 1000. That doesn't really come up. It can do, because we do have some blocker inheritables in this deck, but with the new guy, which is 4 copies of this Espimon, he gives jamming. So this is, if you have him under, or the other Oblivi, or other Espimon, sorry, the +1k only really matters during your opponent's turn if you have blocker. This Espimon, when moving on play, you can turn your opponent's top face down security card face up. If nothing's flipped, you gain a memory and draw 1. So extra draw power. If you're playing later on, you can play him out and draw cards, gain extra memory and such. But the way this works is, if your opponent has 5 security and their top card is face up, when you play this, you just move to their next card, so you're constantly moving down, because their top card may not be the top one. It could be the 3rd one or 4th one down or whatever. So keep that in mind for when we move on to the next lot. We're running 2 of this Solomon. Unfortunately, I don't have any BT15 Hagurumon, so we're just playing with what we can. But I don't actually mind this guy, because he's essentially on play draw 1. Because he's on play, reveal the top card of your deck if it's black, which it will be apart from 1 card. You can add it to your hand, so he's, like I say, just essentially a draw 1 on play. We're running 1 Haguru X. The when digivolving ability does nothing, because we're not running any Hagurumons. He's in here for the blocker inheritable. because it can come up. So the blocker inheritable is nice. Onto level 4s. We are running 4 BT20 Hover Espimon. When digivolving, you can turn your opponent's top face down security card face up, which is nice because, like I say, just keep in mind for this deck profile, having cards in your opponent's security face up is a good thing. End of attack, you draw one. So if you have the jamming from this, you just get a free draw. But you're not really getting the draw anymore because you're basically evoing over him for cheap with the new tamer. So the draw can help, but like I say, 9 times out of 10 you're not really doing it for that. And his inheritable is just the same as that Espimon, just a 1k during all turns. Then we move on to 4 copies of EX11 Hover Espimon. He's your tamer player. If you have one of your tamers play an Altia, it can come up. You can actually play an Altia if you have more than 2 tamers, but we'll get to that when we get there. And his inheritable as well is jamming. So you have 8 instances of jamming in this deck. You can run the old Kapurimon if you want. This one, if you attack your opponent's security, face up security, you gain jamming. I have been tempted to run the 5th one, or maybe like a 3-2 split, but for now I think this is just more than enough. Last level 4s, we're running 3 copies of BT24 Blimpmon. This was, I think it's BT15 or 16 Airdramon. This is just better because it's a machine trait, so everything else that evos over it can evo for cheaper. He's on play when digivolving. Reveal the top 3 cards of your deck, add a machine, a cyborg, or a TS trait Digimon to your hand, or a tamer card, or under this. The TS never comes up, we're not running any TS things, but you can add a tamer or any Digimon in your deck to your hand or under one of your Digimon. And with one of our tamers we're playing later on, this can basically get that out for free. On to level 5s, we're running 4 copies of the new Oblivimon. As I said, you don't play this one anymore. This one does nothing for the deck, it's absolutely garbage. This one, on the other hand, is on play when digivolving. Turn your opponent's top face down card face up, so already better than this because this is on play also. They do share the same security ability, which is end of opponent's turn, you can play this card from your security. How are you getting them there? You're getting them there by your turn ability. When this card would check a face up security, you can place this card's top stacked card into your bottom of your security face up. So if you've got a card under it, such as like this, if you swing, when it would check, you tuck this under. So this card would be technically the one doing the check. So you need to be careful about that. But again, going back to its on play when digivolving, you flip your opponent's top face down card face up, and then digivolve one of your opponent's Digimon. Again, 100 times better than this. This is just when digivolving. It plays itself out of security, yes, but what makes this one so much better is if it's during your opponent's turn, you digivolve into a Invisimon. You're never paying full price for your Invisimon. You're hopefully never actually paying cost for Invisimon, and if you are, like I say, you're never paying the full free cost because of this guy evolving for 0 and our tamer allowing you to evolve for reduced cost as well. Its inheritable is its attack target can't change, which is really nice for the deck. So if your opponent has blockers and face up security, you can still swing through the security. We're running 2 copies of BT15 Megadramon. Again, this is a card that I never see people play. Personally, this card is absolutely insane for this deck. On play when digivolving, reveal the top 3 cards of your deck. You can add a machine, cyborg, or SOC trait card among them to your hand, and then place one such card under him. So you can give it jamming, you can give it plus 1k, you can give it the ability to not be able to be redirected, you can give it reboot, you can give it blocker, or you can give it the Tamer, and we do run in the deck. And then when attacking, if it has an SOC trait Tamer in its sources, which you can do, delete one of your opponent's level 3s. That doesn't come up a lot, but it can do. It can get rid of floodgates and such. Say the opponent's got like Gotsumon on board, stopping you from playing Digimon by effects. You can just delete it, and then if they really want to stop you playing your Invisimons or Oblivimons from security, they're going to have to then play another one. What I like about this is it's inheritable. Is when attacking, just D.G.O 1, which is really nice because D.G.O is one of the strongest forms of removal in the game currently. Last of level 5s, we're running 2 BT24 Master Blimpmon. You can never do the assembly, which is a Blimpmon plus a TS Tamer. We don't play TS Tamers, as I've said, so you never do the assembly. But it has blocker and armor purge, so you can block and then just armor purge down into a level 4. What it's here for is its end of turn, end of attack, end of opponent's turn. You can play out a level play cost 5 or lower Machine Cyborg or TS trait Digimon. So you can play out basically any of your level 4s or 3s. With this, you can play out this for an extra search. You can play out this for a draw. If you want to flip more security, you can. So he's really good for that. His heritable is the same as the Oblivimon as well. You can't have your attack redirected. On to level 6s, we are running 3 copies of John Cena, BT20 John Cenamon, otherwise known as Invisimon. End of opponent's turn, when this card is face up in your opponent in your security, you can play it without paying a cost. On play, when Digivolving, D.G.O 2, and then you can delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 1 or fewer Digivolution sources, which is why this comes up as well. This is handy for that, because if you have this over this, you can swing D.G.Evolve it by 1. If you haven't already D.G.Evolved it by 2 with this, that's D.G.Evolve 3, and then this will go into security. Play it out. If that stack's still there somehow, you can D.G.Evolve it 2 again, and then potentially pop it. But this has the same ability as the Oblivimon, that when it checks a face-up security, you can place this top stacked card into your security face-up. And then we have 3 more John Cena in the EX11 Invisimon. This is your more defensive one, this is your aggressive one. So it has exactly the same abilities as this, to be able to tuck itself into security and then play itself out end of opponent's turn. But on play, when Digivolving, you flip your opponent's top face down card face up, delete one of their Digimon with the lowest play cost, and then he gains security attack +1. So if you have this over the Oblivimon, you swing, deal 1 check, he puts himself into security. This does the second check, tucks itself back into security, and then next turn you play it back out, play this back out. If you have another Invisimon in hand, this can Digivolve into another Invisimon while flipping, while Digivolving. This can then delete something. If you Digivolve, say, a problematic card into something that's a lower play cost than something else they have on the board, this will just delete it. Gain security attack +1, and then you can swing for 2 checks again. So this is your more aggressive play. We are running 1 more, which is just the promo 203 Justimon. On play, when Digivolving, when attacking, D.G.Evolve 1 of your opponent's Digimon. It is once per turn, unfortunately, but if it wasn't, it'd be pretty good. One of your opponent's Digimon, then by trashing 1 option card in the battle area, this Digimon gains piercing and security attack +1. So it's just more D.G.Evolve, it's just a bit more aggression. It gets rid of your opponent's trainings, D.G.Os, memory boosts, scrambles. So if you clear their board with, say, your guys, they then can't scramble and rebuild back up. It gets rid of a lot of problematic cards your opponent can have on the board. And then its other all turns abilities, when an option card in the battle area is trashed, one of your opponent's Digimon can't Digivolve and attack players until the end of your turn. So if your opponent's trashing against the puppet deck, for example, if your opponent trashes their emblem, this will trigger, stopping them from Digivolving, and then they can't attack you, so they can't use Overclock, because Overclock then can only attack opponents themselves and not actual Digimon or anything. So he's just a nice little tech to come in here. Plus he's a cyborg himself, so he works with like everything else in the deck. So yeah, he's just a nice little one-off. On to tamers and options now. We're on a 4 of the new Altia. He's okay, he's decent. On play, you flip your opponent's top face down card, face up in their security. Start of your main phase if your opponent has a Digimon gainer memory, so that's decent. But what makes him so good is your turn, when one of your Digimon with Machine or Cyborg and their trait swings, you can suspend him. That Digimon can then Digivolve into a Machine or Cyborg trait Digimon with the Digivolution cost reduced by the number of face-up security your opponent has. So if your opponent has 3, all of these guys and all of your level 5s and such become 0 evolution cost, which is really nice. I don't believe these stack. Do correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. But like I said, I'm pretty sure these don't stack, but they're just nice to have. Next, we move on to 3 copies of Altia Zero Suit Altia, otherwise known as Marvin Jackson. This is one of the cards I never see anybody play in any Invisimon list I've seen. This card, in my personal opinion, is the best tamer for the deck. If you don't know what he does, security plays himself out. And then he has the neat ability of Mind Link to a Cyborg, SOC, or Machine trait Digimon. So anything in the deck, you can slide him under. And then he gives him jamming and blocker. And then end of your turn, you can just slide him back out. Or you can keep him back in if you need a blocker. But you don't have any way of getting him from trash. So you have to be careful with that. But what I like about him, and this is the reason this one here can play more than one, can play more tamers even though you have more on the board. So if you push out, say you have one of this and one of this on the board, you can push out your level 3, tuck him under, evo into this guy, and then because you have technically 1 or fewer tamers on the board, you can then play a second Altia. Also, you can tuck him under this if you need to draw to pull it, then tuck him back out and such. So I don't know why people aren't playing him, because he's searchable with the Megadramon. He's searchable with the Blimpmon. You can even tuck him under Blimpmon and then end of turn just pull him back out. So he's a free tamer. At the end of the day, he's a free tamer with him as well. And also if you play out Blimpmon with Master Blimp and then you get him again, it's just the plays he allows you to do is just insane. If you have him on his own or one of these guys, you can tuck him under, such as like this. You can tuck him under, do your swing, and because the ability is a you can do the first check, do the second check, then tuck him under. This stays, and then if you have another one, you can then tuck him under and you can just keep going like that. So again, I don't know why people aren't playing Marvin Jackson, or as I like to call him, Zero Suit Altia, because he just does so much for the deck. He is the best tamer for the deck, as I've said. Options for training, that's it. That's all you need for training. We are running 1 memory boost, and then the last card is Ice Wall. The deck is very slow. It can be quick if you see the correct pieces and your opponent bricks, like most decks, you know, it involves your opponent bricking. But if you have like the correct setup and stuff, you can just get stupid amounts of security. But this is here just to slow your opponent down. If you're against something that can swing a lot, you go, oh, I'll just Ice Wall you for a turn. This is just here because I don't have a scramble. If I had a scramble, I'd play that over this. But it gives you memory. It searches you 4 deep. You can pick up anything in the deck. But this is staying in because I like Ice Wall in the list. So yeah, that's my Invisimon list, guys. Play Marvin Jackson. He's the best tamer for the deck. This is the Digital Gate closing.